Did you see that? A ghost.
Welcome to Paranormal Pentivity, a show about songwriting, ghostwriting, and everything in between. My name is Nayim and I am your host. Today, we are kicking off Paranormal Pentivity Horror Story. And the reason I wanted to do this and talk specifically about the ghost writers that you might know, but you might not know anything about them, anything about the horror story that basically crashed their careers, is because oftentimes when you are not in the spotlight, nobody hears you. I would say it falls on deaf ears, but it doesn't fall on any ears because nobody knows you to hear your story. And there are very good lessons we can pull out of these things. And you know, I'm a lessons person. So today, we're going to be here about a week, or it might be over a week. I don't know. But we'll rock out as we see fit, because this one in particular is probably the biggest one that you have never heard of, more than likely, or if you heard about it, you don't really know much about it. And I do have all the individual details. So we're talking about Kaalan K.R. Walker. With K.R., you know, from the way beginning, way back into the early teens, 2010s, so the early 2010s, you know, finding out about him and just being so enamored with his talent. You know, I used to watch him on live, and you know, he would talk to everybody and interact. This is way, you know, in the beginning of his music career. I just hearing him talk about how depressed he was because he was giving his music away, how he was just always sad, he was not happy, everything. And now I think about him speaking about that, when he was speaking about it, it makes you feel like you shouldn't even want to do music. Like, it makes you not want to do music. It was very discouraging. It was very heartbreaking. However, it did give you that motivation if you knew him, if you knew anything about him, if you even became just a fan of the music that he put out, because songwriters and ghostwriters do have music careers of their own. You just don't hear about them. And if you do hear about them, their fan base is usually so small. And I say small compared to mainstream fan bases, because KR's story is on the other side of popular music. This is like underground, I don't want to say legend, but pretty much underground ghostwriting legend. But also your fan base is so niche and they really love you, and you could have a whole career as a writer without ever putting out no videos and doing none of that. So if you start doing other things, that makes your fan base love you even more, because now you're not tame. So this is a brief summary of him, because we're going to go moment by moment by moment what ended up happening to him and what ended up happening to his career. So in about 2013, 2014, he started to build himself a fan base because he was a ghost writer for Drake, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole. He was giving people hits. Anybody that is mainstream, that was supposed to be or that is considered a lyricist, went to KR. This is not, at this point, it might be a secret, but I don't think it's much of a secret. Like, KR was number one of choice when we talk about the rooms, and not no mythological rooms. We talk about writing rooms. Everybody wanted to be at KR's writing room. Everybody wanted specifically what he had, because he had the melodies, the cadences, the flows, and also he was a lyricist. And I'm assuming he's not really doing music. He's not doing music now at all, but he was a lyricist. So all of them went to him, even so much so that he went out to meet with Drake's manager, whose name is Future, not to be confused with Future. But Future does come up later. You know, we'll cover what his significance with Future was a little bit later. But he went out to meet because Drake wanted to sign him to OVO. And Kaalan was like, no, I'm not that deal ended up falling through. He didn't really want to do it, but the deal ended up falling through. Then in 2018, he went to meet with Kendrick Lamar and Top Dog, or whatever his name is over there. He went over there to meet with, it was Top Dog. He went over there to meet with TDE. And TDE wanted to sign him. Kendrick, Top Dog sent him a message saying, come to the studio. We're doing whatever. And they was watching them work. And then Kendrick walks in, and he's already made it clear, like, Kendrick's one of his idols and Drake was his idol, but he was in there and they was watching them work. And they was just so wow. They was like, we need you over here. And keep in mind, he was already writing for motherfuckers over there anyway. Or, ghost writing. And this is not a secret unless you didn't know. But they wanted him. They wanted him, and he said he turned the deal down because he wanted to prove to himself that he can do it on his own. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. What I'm saying, I ain't gonna say nothing about that. I understand. I'm gonna say I understand why you were turned down, especially being that you were writing. He's talked a lot about, after that, he was just so depressed because he didn't have his paperwork right. If you know anything about me, I'm the paperwork person. You know what I'm saying? As far as being on top of your business, because I've been in situations where I actually have 2 situations in general where my paperwork was not right, and with one of those is recently came back up, and I'm paying for it now, but we'll cover that at another time. He didn't have his paperwork right, so he had ghost written #1 songs, multiple #1 songs, multiple charting, lucrative songs for the top lyricists in the game, and he never received no money from it. I remember when he was on live one night, this was a long time ago, he was talking about how he only had like $200 in his account, but he had a #1 song on, the radio, and he had a #1 song on Billboard, and all of this that he had written, his words verbatim. Nobody went in there and changed them. Nobody went in there and switched anything. He only had $200 in the goddamn bank. And this is just the reality of what it is like as a ghostwriter. This is why this is a horror story, because as a ghostwriter, even as a songwriter, if you are credited, you're not entitled to a lot of the money that comes in from the work that you do, being that a lot of times you are the person that makes people even want to hear the goddamn song because of the lyrics. It's not like niggas is just, they're not playing instrumentals on the Billboard. You know what I'm saying? There are no charting instrumentals on Billboard. The beat helps, but this is the reality of it. You'll end up broke, depressed, miserable, waking up every day. He verbatim said this. He used to wake up every day and he was just fucking miserable. He hated his life. He wanted to kill himself. He said he was suicidal because he was so broke. But he felt like, this is what he wanted to do, and he just, I don't know what his deal was, just giving his music away and doing all of that. But that is the reality of what it is like to be a ghostwriter. And this is just the summary of where his mind was at when he started and was entrenched in his ghostwriting career. Because when he stopped, I don't want to say he stopped, well, he kind of did stop. He did stop ghostwriting, but when he stopped the ghostwriting, that's when he moved into acting. And we're going to cover that tomorrow, his acting career. And then we're going to get into how his acting career basically sent him on the worst spiral and completely destroyed his music career. So this is Paranormal Pentivity, the horror story edition. My name is Nayim, and I will holler at y'all.